Hey guys! Today we're going to be talking about some of the most common mistakes that homeowners make when they're getting ready to sell and how you can avoid them. I'm Chantel Horn, your Southern Utah realtor, and if you get to the end of this video and find, unsurprisingly, that it didn't answer absolutely every question you've ever had about real estate, my phone number is below and you can call me, text me, and I'll try my best to help however I can. Let's get into it. The first one that we have, you probably won't be surprised to hear, is pricing the home incorrectly. If you price your house too high, you're going to have a hard time selling it. And if you price your house too low, you're going to be leaving money on the table, which is not what any seller wants to do. You find as an agent that a lot of times you'll be talking with potential sellers and they have an idea in their head of what their house is worth or what they want to sell their house for. Sometimes this is based on reality, and a lot of times it's not. A lot of times people have it in their mind what they want to get out of it based on what they've heard from their neighbors, what somebody else sold their house for a year ago in different market times, what they feel the value of their house is based on how much they love it. And the real value that you get right off the bat with an agent is pricing your home correctly. Now, not only is that going to go hand in hand with the market value of the house and what things are going on in your area, what comps in your neighborhood, and all of that, but also your motivation and strategy for selling your home. For example, say you have another job in a different city that you need to move and you've got to get your house sold as quickly as possible. That's going to play into your pricing structure, and having a great agent that really understands and can communicate with you and what your goals are, as well as understanding the market and what's realistic for your home, is going to be invaluable. Another thing that's really important to keep in mind is trying to take emotion out of it. I've never met a seller who didn't think that they had an amazing house. You've lived in this house, you have memories here, you've done different changes and upgrades and remodels and painting and to this house, and to you it's meaningful and it's important and it's somewhere that you have connection to. You've got to think about it from the buyer's eyes, and they don't have those things, and your house is just a list of other homes that they're comparing as well. And so you've got to try and look at it through their eyes, take the emotion out of it, really listen to your agent as a professional and what they're telling you your house realistically could sell for. The second one we're going to be talking about is curb appeal. This one can be easy for sellers to overlook or think isn't really that important, but it can really have a big impact on how a buyer sees your home. This is the first impression they're going to have before they even walk in the door. So it's like, how does your front yard look? Is the landscaping cleaned up? Is the porch swept off? Or has there been like some wind come through and blown a bunch of dirt and leaves up on there? How does your front door look? Do you have like cracking paint around the door? Can that be fixed up and made a better impression without too much effort or money? What are some things that you can do to make the front of your house leave the best first impression that you can? Number 3 is kind of similar to number 2, and that's preparing the inside of your house for sale. First on the list is decluttering as much as possible to make it that much easier for buyers as they're walking through to visualize themselves living in your home. To you, it might just be a blender out on the counter and a toaster and all the things that you use every day, but to them, it's just stuff. And so they're not seeing it with the same eyes that you are living in it. So the less that you can have out and about, the cleaner that the closets can be, the more tidy the house can be. If there's stuff that you can box up ahead of time or kind of like pre-pack that you don't need to have out, the better that your house is going to show. Along with that is things throughout the house that might be able to have like little improvements done. If you see some chipping paint, or if the baseboards aren't perfectly clean. Not everything is a huge deal, but the more attention that you can pay to the little things, the more of a big impact it's going to have overall. Because as potential buyers are walking through, subconsciously, if they see, say, a spider web way up high in one of the corners, or they see like a little crack that could easily be fixed, or nail holes from something that was hung that isn't there anymore, in their mind, subconsciously, they're thinking like, oh, this house isn't kept up on. What else do I not see? And the value slowly goes down in their mind. So the more like dirty that the house is, the more cluttered that the house is, the more like small, somewhat unimportant fixes that exist, the more that a buyer is going to be judging it. So the better impression that you can make, the more valuable a house is going to seem like it's a great like catch to them. So doing everything you can to have it show as good as possible. Number 4. So this one's going to be pretty important to talk about with your agent before you get it listed, and try and clear it up as much as possible beforehand. But being available for showings. Obviously, the more availability that your buyers have to be able to come and see the house, the more likely you are to get offers from them. If you have a pretty tight schedule and you tell your agent they can only see it with 3 days advance notice between these times and only on these days, you're really shrinking the pool of potential buyers that are going to be able to come and see it. We would all love to have as much advance notice as possible to be able to like tidy up and make sure that it's convenient for our schedules, that we're not home. But in reality, that's rarely how it works, unfortunately. And your agent is only going to have so much control of what requests they have coming in from potential buyers. And so if a buyer's like, hey, I'm only in town right now and I want to come see houses, and they only give you like a 15-minute heads up, know in advance if that's something that you can handle or not. And it doesn't have to be, but the more available you can be, the better luck you're going to have. So really talking with your agents at the beginning and figuring out like, when are you going to be at work? Is there times that you know for sure that scheduling a showing is going to be possible and your agent doesn't even have to reach out to you to double check? Because the more that you can shorten that response window of from when a request comes in to when your agent can, tell them yes or no that a showing is going to be possible, then the better that's going to be as well. So how much advance notice do you need? How often can you make it available to show? Can you have your agent approve showings without having to talk to you first? And just figuring out all these details as much as possible and trying the best that you can to make it available as often as possible. Number 5, more than ever before, photography of your home is so important. There are so many times that buyers are looking online at homes that would potentially make the list of ones that they might purchase and cross it off the list without even seeing it, just because the photos make it look less appealing. And on the other hand, there's also homes that don't show as well in person, but the photography makes them look so amazing that a buyer is attracted to go look at it. And then they might find that in real life, they like it more than they thought that they would. And so photography really can like make or break having buyers come and look at your house. So that's going to be another thing to talk to your agent about. There are some agents that may not cover the photography or get that set up for you, and that might be something that you have to do on your own. So you'll want to know for sure if that's something that your agent is going to handle or if it's not. And if it is something that they're going to handle, making sure that that's something that they see as important too, and that they hire really good professional photographers that are going to show your house in the best possible light. So really something to consider as you're getting ready to list your home. Number 6 is going to have an element kind of similar to something that we touched on in pricing as well, and that's not being too emotional about the process. Say you have an offer that comes in that might otherwise be a great offer, But if that buyer has given some potentially negative feedback about your home and you take it personally and don't see their offer in a clear light because you're too emotionally attached to whatever is said, then you're not going to be making the best decision that you could be. Number 7 is going to be not considering all offers. Say you've got 2 offers that come in, one's at asking price and the other one's a little bit below. A lot of people might right off the bat think that they just want to accept the higher offer, but a good agent will help you understand all the other elements of the contract as well, such as any contingencies that they might have or what the time frame is for closing on it. And once you consider everything, and say that one is like asking for repair costs as well, once it all nets out and you consider the time frame and other things in it that might be valuable to you, one offer that had started as being below asking price might end up being the better offer to accept. So really just having an open mind and looking at all of the details, having your agent walk you through it and making sure that you're making the best overall decision and not just choosing an offer based off of the price. And the last one I've got for you today is choosing the right realtor. Obviously, as we've been going through all of these, there's so many times that an agent comes into play, and having the right agent really, really matters. So you might have a friend or family member that's an agent, and if they're the right one, then that's awesome. But choosing them only for that could be the wrong decision, and I'm not going to tell you whether it is or not, but making sure that you're informed and that you really know how they work as an agent, how well educated they are on the market. And one of the biggest complaints that I hear from people is having an agent that doesn't communicate very well, feeling left out of what the process is that they're going through, and really being able to communicate and get questions answered and have that support from their agent as they're going through this process. So making sure that you ask all the questions, figure out what your questions even are ahead of time, and interviewing multiple agents if you need to. And just making sure that the agent that you pick is the one that's going to be the best for you, because this is probably going to be one of the biggest transactions that you're a part of throughout your life. And having a person that can really guide you and make sure that you get the highest price that you can for the home that you're selling is going to be so important. And making sure that the experience that you have throughout that process is as painless and understandable as possible. So that's what I've got for you today. Again, if you have any questions, if you're looking to buy or sell in Southern Utah, my contact information is here, and I would love to help you in any way that I can.